I think we're talking at cross purposes. On the one hand, we're talking about results that we're hoping for. On the other hand, we're talking about processes that we're setting in motion. You're saying, should we hope for certain kinds of lessening of inequality and so on? The real question, the political question is, shall we set in motion certain processes because we hope for that? And do those processes enhance or reduce freedom? And I think the argument that Milton is making, certainly the argument that I would make, is that the attempt at doing these things, and it doesn't really matter, it's a complete straw man to talk about absolute inequality.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Throughout the film, this is the straw man he brings up in order to say how ridiculous to have absolute equality. And then he goes on to say how ridiculous to have absolute homogenization as well.
As a result, you see, that you set up processes whose end result may not be any more or less inequality than exists now, but the question is, those processes may indeed reduce freedom greatly. I would go beyond the question of equality and put it more generally, that any process to ascribe any status to any group of people, equality, inferiority, superiority, must necessarily reduce freedom, because whatever the government wishes to ascribe to any group, whatever place, to use the phrase that was very common in the South, that blacks should have their place, whatever place the government is going to assign to people, that place will not coincide. That place will not coincide either with what all those people are doing or with how others perceive all those people, because there's too much diversity among human beings. To maintain any system of ascribed status from the top is going to mean reducing people's freedom across the spectrum. That's the point.
People.
Okay. Let me hear what she had to say, and I will get my point.
Have an ascribed status. It isn't as if government, by its intervention, creates it. People are born into this world in a given sector of a society, and many, many of them are born at the bottom of the society. The argument about equality of results was an argument that was linked to equality of opportunity. People recognized that unless there was a degree of equality in a degree of enough food, enough security, access to education, unless these things were available to all children, then equality of opportunity was merely a mockery. That's why equality of results became an issue, and it became an issue for black people in the United States, and they expressed their concern, whatever the opinion.
You expressed it, damn it, look. No, they did not.
Dang. Soul just went straight at it. Equality, we're not equal, man. That's the hardest truth. And this is what, 1980s, 1970s. I think this sounds like more like early 1980s. Milton Friedman. Government intervention. So Sowell is arguing. So we have to talk about, if we want these things, we might have to reduce some freedom, and the other side of the debate saying, oh, if that's the case, we need to reduce freedom, because at least we're just feeding people. In this case, will be, the black people. We're going to feed them. We're going to give them more education, stuff like that. The question is if that works. That'll be the question. If that's the case, that giving more funding, more welfare, all these things will work and make them better, shouldn't we already see a result? That's my argument.
They expressed their will by their extraordinary participation in a protest movement that began in the late 1950s and didn't end until the 1960s. Intellectuals were not in that protest movement.
You want me to answer? You want to keep going?
In that protest.
You want me to answer?
She don't like it. She does not.
Black people have never supported, for example, affirmative action, quotas, anything of that sort. Wherever polls have been taken a black opinion on such matters of should people be paid equally or should there be this or that, black people have never taken a position that you described. So it is not a question of what black people chose to do. It's what you choose to put in the mouths of black people. It is what you choose to project. It is not what any black people have ever said anywhere that you can put your finger on.
It's what you choose to put into the mouth of the pollsters, as far as I can see.
I put in the mouth of
the
pollsters.
Of the black community.
Like most people, I have never seen a pollster.
If you look at the leadership of the black...
Bang! He's just killing it. He's just ready. I mean, all these things are just connecting so fast that he can just go back at it, right? So he's already thought about these arguments, right? I understand the other side. I understand you want to just help people. I understand. There's nothing bad about helping people. Or again, good intentions just open the doors to hell, right? I think that's the saying. You have to ask yourself, are these things really helping? That's the question you have to ask. If these things are really helping, are we willing to just sacrifice freedom for more benefits in the government, stuff like that? If that's the case, is if if it's better for the government to spend more money on citizens, shouldn't we already see some result on these things? These are just questions you have to ask. Hey, I might be wrong. Let me know in the comments below.
But I want to go back to I want to carry it back to the earlier point. Number one, there's no question about what equality of results, if it comes about through a framework of freedom, is a desirable result. Number two, I argue in the film, I've argued here, that in point of fact, you get greater equality of actual results by a system under which people are free to achieve unequal results. That for the poor people of the world that Francis Fox Piven was talking about, the most effective mechanism for enabling them to improve their status is not a governmental program which seeks to ascribe to them certain positions, which seeks to provide them with certain goods and services, but a governmental program which tries to eliminate arbitrary barriers to advancement. I would say that in this world, the greatest source of inequality has been special privileges granted by government. That government may talk a great deal. There may be a lot of...
I mean, it's not affirmative action, right? So saying government intervention, affirmative action, right? If you are this race, you get a pat in the back. If you're from this race, you get you get some incentives, right? I think that's itself is government intervention, intervening in the process of real results, right? If let's say if let's say there's a test, a score of 100. Now we all know you fail if you take below 70. Okay, I understand that's above average, but 70 it's like a C. Let's see, that's a grade. Now you get 40. You're from this group. A affirmative action said you're gonna get 40 points, right? Above whatever is your result. That means in the real result, you already failed the test. But affirmative action comes in and help you out. And all of a sudden you have 80%. It looks good in the paper, but in reality you failed. They just help you out and feel sorry for you. Now the other group, they have to pay the consequences, I guess, right? That's the government intervention they're calling. That actually is not helping people. That's just a lie. A lie. It's like a lie from which is covering a truth which is clear and just underlying a big problem that we have in our society.
Of talk about how we're going to eliminate inequality. But if you go back to your case of Britain, is there any doubt that one of the effects of governmental intervention in Britain has been to create new opportunities for special classes? That the way to get wealthy in a society that supposedly is aiming at equality, that the way to get wealthy is to get a special government permit to to get foreign exchange, or to import goods, or to, in this country, to set up a television station.
Oh, damn, does it? Oh, that was very good. That was very good. It's still into today's debates. I mean, this will probably go for the next 20, 30 years against this capitalism, against socialism. I mean, more government intervention. I mean, more open to socialism ideas. And I think Thomas Sowell and Milton Friedman are arguing for the capitalistic or libertarian side of things. More capitalistic. Even though Milton Friedman side a little bit in the libertarian side. But these debates, just seeing those debates that are being happening for a long time, but then we see that we embracing a lot of socialist programs. Hey, it might be that the message never got through. I think when it comes to culture, you have to see all the aspects and see what really made the possibility of having people choosing these government programs. I don't know. I'm just a guy with this opinion. Tell me in the comments below if I'm missing something. I'm going to really appreciate it.